Yo all, it's me! Meeting time! The team gathered in Holsword at the Ministry of Economy to go over the current economic situation. You can see right there, it's not great. It's improved. It's improved since we took office, but it is not where we want it to be. The building was constructed in 1892 by Herren Walt, possibly the most famous architect in Sordland. It was a simple and elegant structure with a few of his signature domes spread out over the roof. I walked through the large bronze doors. Two assistants led me upstairs to a meeting room. Everyone stood up, too many people, as I entered the room, buttoning their suit jackets.
Welcome, Mr. President.
Please take your seats. Everyone took their seats.
As you know, today we'll go over our economic status. Let's begin without further ado.
I don't know what's there to go over. Things aren't going great.
The aid we've received from Arcasia has helped us tremendously.
Yep, I get a little credit for that. I signed that deal.
Personally, I think that was a great decision, Mr. President.
Thanks for kissing my ass, Simon.
We will use the majority of the capital to combat the recession.
I would expect nothing less from our Arcasian friends. I'm not going to throw shade at them.
Well said!
How are we doing in terms of our infrastructure?
Oh, don't ask. Don't ask about... I think we need to go out there and finish the road, because Taurus Holding is in the middle of a union strike, and they try to deceive us by lowballing us for a bid, and then they were like, you gotta give us more money, and I was like, do I now? I don't think I do.
The first months had positive indicators, but the delay of the infrastructure project reversed economic gains.
Mikhail frowned and put his fingers on his chin.
Why couldn't we solve the H3 construction issues? The National Business Council isn't happy with the lack of tangible economic improvements at all.
At what point have I ever done anything you've wanted, Mikhail? I could say I expected better from us. Nah. I could say focusing on future investments is better. No. I'm going to say the truth. Certain individuals will be held accountable for their failures. We have a corruption division now, and if any of the oligarchs are involved in Taurus and corrupt, we're going after them.
I actually agree with you. Lilius had a very prominent role.
We need to fix the issues, not punish people.
David, do you have any stats on our deal with Ignolia?
Our trade deal with Ignolia has increased our imports and exports by 25% in 1 month, and with much more to be expected in the future. Well, that deal's going good, but the higher prices of Ignolian steel didn't result in a trade surplus. That doesn't sound like a positive indicator. I'm not going to say that, though. Part of it is we also wanted that military alliance. That's what we expected. We should look for more trade partners. We can make much more money and increase our presence in the region. Maybe with Lesbia? I agree. Just not the region. We should target for more deals internationally. We should see our improved relations with Ignolia as a stepping stone to expand positive influence. I support our foreign initiatives with partners as democratic as Ignolia. You know what? I agree. Aligning ourselves with more democratic countries is good for us. You're right. It's good for overall trade with other countries as well. Democratic countries generate more trust in general. And Lesbia got a lot of money to the south of us. On a side note, consumer spending has decreased further due to a pessimistic mood caused by our economic issues. Or because people don't have money? Maybe they spend less because they don't got money? Not just because they're having a sad day? If you have a sad day, you want to spend money. I'm not going to say it's discouraging. We know it is. I'm confident we will turn this mood around with adaptive projects and solutions.
Good to hear. We will do better. While I agree that our first attempts were not successful, we might still have economic opportunities left.
It isn't good for our reputation. The people expected quick solutions. We're running out of time.
The central bank has been working on a bill with the Grand National Assembly to increase our preparedness for future damaging economic incidents. The issues surrounding the energy prices and the imbalance they cause in the market are also a pressing concern. Average citizens and businesses are suffering. Do I get some points for the fact that small business is growing under us? After the Central Bank Reinforcement Act, our focus will be to shift to primarily tackle the energy inflation crisis in the country. We will present a bill about this in the near future if the situation regresses.
The NBC,
The National Business Council,
will also lend support to the analysis and contingency plans regarding the ongoing developments.
I, for one, am looking forward to further collaboration between our departments to solve upcoming issues.
Simon checked his large dossier.
Some good news. We currently have a budget surplus.
That we do.
That means we can pursue many investments which would drive our economy upwards. I will present you with the draft documents of economic expansion soon.
I don't know if that's where we want to spend our money. Everything they've brought to us just about has been dog shit. But very well, I'll take a look. It doesn't hurt to look.
Thank you, sir. As per the latest data from the ministry, the recession unfortunately seems to be lingering still in some economic areas.
Yeah, especially Bergia.
No matter the cost, we will have to increase our economic development rates. Otherwise, I am sad to say that we will be doomed! Sing the doom song. We need to use the opportunities we have been given. Trade deals and infrastructure improvements always help. Mr. President, I will be very clear.
Simon took off his glasses and put them on the table. He looked at me straight in the eye. Not eyes, eye in one of my eyes.
You already know this, and I don't want to frighten you, but if we are unable to stop this recession, we are heading towards an economic catastrophe that has never been seen before in Sordland. No, in all of Eastern Morcopa. I can't even begin to imagine how we could survive that. None of us want to see Sordish people starve while the state is unable to provide for its citizens.
Well, then maybe we need to get to work, numbnuts.
Exactly.
He put on his glasses.
Now, there are a few methods we can use to tackle the recession. Our surplus is a great reason to spend extra on a new investment project to push for further economic development in the future.
Really? Because our last big investment project is still not done. The highway system to nowhere.
I've prepared a few project proposals. There are two main distinctions between these projects. It's either about continuing our infrastructure improvements or investing in increasing production. If we continue working on our infrastructure, that would lift us up to advanced country levels. However, our industrial production also needs a boost to return to pre-recession levels.
There is, of course, the option to not take any risks related to our budget.
The plans for these projects will be finalized soon. For now, I can provide preliminary information. Which would you like to hear first?
Tell me about the infrastructure.
For infrastructure, we have two projects. One is the Benfi International Airport,
We've seen repeatedly that it is overwhelmed.
and the other is the Morna Port.
I don't know if we've ever seen anything about the port being overwhelmed.
Benfi is growing at a rapid pace and would benefit highly from an international airport. Much more money to be made there, too.
The Morna port would boost trade and improve the flow of goods towards Holsord because the Conrad port is too small in capacity and extension is blocked by the Navy headquarters. If I remember correctly, Benfi is down here in Grooney. Grooney's economy isn't great, but they're not one of the places that is hurting a lot. So let's look at Morna. Morna would be a more significant city with a port, and the advanced logistical connection to Holsord would be better utilized.
I don't think investing in Morna with the port would do much to change our economic prospects. Goods are flowing from other places just as fast.
Increased imports and exports on a more accessible path to Holsord is a very lucrative position in my opinion. Time is money. I agree with Edith. The Morna port will mean a great deal to our trade and improve the economy of the Lauren region too. Yeah, right now, Grooney, not going gangbusters, but it's doing all right. And we already invested in Grooney a while back when it came to the modernizing the tractors and shit. What are the projects that could boost our production?
For production, we have two projects. One is the Sarna Agricultural Zone. The other is the Conriat Industrial City.
I regret asking this question, because I don't think I want to do this at all. I'd rather do the infrastructure. It opens up more potential for various companies to figure things out and make it work. I see Sarna's agricultural zone investment is a higher priority due to the fact that farmers in Bergia were hit by the recession the most. Well, Bergia is in bad case. Sarna is also a more poorer city than Conriat. The Conriat Industrial City project has the potential to increase manufacturing in the greater Holsword region by a large amount. I don't want to do any of these. I mean, if we were going to do something that would focus on Sarna, because they're the poorest city, and if we can pull them out of poverty, you know, that'd be better. And our character's from Bergia. The recession has hit the farmers of Sarna particularly hard. Besides, the agricultural output increase would boost our economy.
The investment won't be able to recover the industry there. Conriat, on the other hand, would bring more financial gain.
You might be right, Mikhail, but I don't think we're going to be doing both. It's going to be infrastructure or this or nothing, and I think infrastructure is kind of higher on the list.
Our government has the opportunity to support agriculture, and we should take it. It would increase our exports, too.
Alright, I got enough information.
Very well. That covers our subjects for today.
Does anybody want to add anything? Nobody answered.
That concludes the meeting.
Have a good day, all. Goodbye.
I'm an old man. Until next time, Mr. President.
See you soon.
The meeting ended. Well, we learned some things. We've learned our economy seems to almost be evenly now. 14 news items. I gotta read that much? Why is being president involved so much reading? And there's news from way out here. What's the news out here? Oh, from Agnelia to the north. Prime Minister Van Horten warns about Vlagslandian presence. Yeah, those two guys just keep bickering. I don't give a shit unless we get drawn into a war. Alright, let's see what's going on in Bergia. Polio cases discovered in rural Suzerain, that's bad. Reports from our border cities indicate that polio has outbroken in Wayland and has been moving towards Sordland. Specifically, there's been a sharp increase in cases in rural Suzerain and nearby villages. Health professionals have been dispatched to curb the infections by quarantining the patients. There are 23 active cases in Sordland. That is not good. Protest against Governor Braun's resettlement order. Remember, Governor Braun wants to separate the Bloods from the Swords in Bergia? This is awful. A massive protest has erupted against his resettlement orders. Good for you people! You should be angry about it. The protest was largely peaceful, but tensions rose when Bergian security forces arrived to disperse the crowd, leading to some clashes. Understandable. If you got forced from your home because of an idiot governor, we've got to find a way to change that. Urson versus Sordland case. So this might be going before the courts, his ornament. Urson versus Sordland case. So I'm guessing his resettlement order is now before the courts to see if it's constitutional. A landmark court filing has been appealed to the Court of Appeals today and is under review by the Minister of Justice. I think that's Nia. The lawyer and the Bludish civil rights activist Ishval Urson sued Governor Felix Braun for the infringement of the constitutional rights of equality before the law. The case questions the separate legal treatment of the Bludish in Dyer, and by extension in the whole of Bergia. Ishval Urson argues that Governor Braun's policies, including the controversial resettlement policy, infringes upon the right of property of the Bludish citizens. He claims that Articles 6 and 7 of the Constitution, as well as the institution of the Special Zone, are in direct conflict with the Constitution, and thus allows the separate treatment of the Bludish in all Bergia and beyond. So we want Urson to lose that case. We want him not to be able to separate people. Or Braun to lose that case. Oh man, there's a ton of homelessness in Dyer too. What a dire situation. What's going on in Narble? Protest. The mayor of Narble reports that 5,000 demonstrators gathered on the streets to protest the government. Demonstrations were peaceful, and the citizens dispersed peacefully after 4 hours. That's awesome. Good news, good news. Estor's locals bear the brunt of high energy prices. That's not good. Energy prices are going up, and that's putting hardship on people. I don't know what we're going to do about that. And Avery? Oh, an update about the construction project. Has Taurus done anything? Taurus Holding has reported that construction for the H3 highway has officially been delayed for a year. The managers of the project apologized in public statements, blaming the strikes for the delay. I should go have the army shoot them all. Is that ever going to get finished? What's going on in Lauren? There's Morna, where we might build the port. Police violence. That's not a good thing. The police force in Morna has put forward an assessment report regarding the performance of the local security forces in maintaining public order. According to the police chief, the force quelled a dozen unrest incidents with little loss of life, mind you, on the side of the security forces. That's a step forward, I guess, if less people are dying. And there's so much news. Our energy crisis over Sordland, we know that. Apparently, addressing energy inflation, a proposed act, the Energy Inflation Reduction Act, is a promising measure aimed at curbing the recent surge in energy prices, with plans for a temporary price cap on gas and bilateral agreements with energy-rich countries. I wonder how the Rizians would feel about that. They invested to make a lot of money in our country, and if we cap the prices on things. Ishval Urson versus Governor Braun, we just read that. Urson is suing Braun about the hopefully unconstitutional resettlement decree. Housewives march to defend Sordish tradition in Enrica. As the Sordish League of Women spearheaded a march for so-called education equality, says the Whole Sword Post, in Enrica, a group of self-proclaimed happy housewives led a counter-protest. Their argument is that pulling girls out of handicrafts classes and forcing them into science classes alongside boys would be an affront to Sordish tradition, and that co-ed restrooms in schools would be the next logical step. Nobody said that. Nobody said the last part. We, at the Whole Sword Post, hope President Rayne will make the same decision and not fall into the trap of pursuing unnecessary changes in the classroom. Alright, we're gonna get blasted on this. Sordland today, President's hot pick Taurus fails to deliver. Can't President Rayne do anything right? He has proven time and time again that he has a general knack for picking the wrong people, let it be his sphere or a simple construction project. Taurus Holding is the newest addition to his ever-growing list as they announce the delay of the highly anticipated H3 highway construction. Our only hope is that the new highway will be finished in the next decade or two, before we're too old or bedridden. Yeah, I'll admit, so far that's not gone well. I wish we could go after them more. I wish I could call them into my office and tell them we're going to sue them out of existence if they don't get this shit going. What's the Economist have to say? Taurus delays highway construction. Alright, so more about energy prices rising, we know that. Bill to bolster the central bank, we'll see that later on. Narble hosts largest anti-Rayne protest yet. Ooh, not so popular right now. Radical demonstrators appear to be ramping up their attack on the Rayne administration. Oh wait, that 5,000 person protest we saw, that was against us. At least it was peaceful. Police violence escalates against protesters. It's happened. President Rayne has let the Sordish police off their leash. All across the country, we're seeing an increase in police violence against innocent demonstrators, from bludgeoning to tear gas. That's not my fault. That's Lily. She's in charge of that. I gotta have a talk with her. Alright, and then we already know that Ignoli and Vaguesland, they're getting more angry at each other. Operation Bear Trap begins. The president of Wayland, Smolak, has started his plan to attack and drive the Blutish Freedom Front out of his country, meaning we're probably going to have refugees pouring into our country along that border. Rumburg, Ignolia, and Lesbia has condemned the mobilization order of Wayland, citing the war crimes committed during the previous assault against the Blutish people. While Sordland has not made any comments on the matter, Watchtower of Human Rights said that they will be following the developments closely for any infractions on human rights violations. So far, that makes me proud that I didn't sign a deal with Smolak. Oh, and then the next thing is Sordland's diplomacy disappoints. The new diplomatic initiative presented by the Foreign Ministry has led to a major disappointment. When President Rayne they're basically saying because I failed in Wayland to get a deal, but the only way to get a deal was to help them with this thing that everybody is like booing about him murdering a bunch of people in his country. Well, you can't please everybody, and sometimes as president you can't please anybody. Certainly Taurus Holding hasn't pleased me. I'll see you next time. I wish I could take them out back and give them a whipping.